if I go to somebody and go, what's the average length malwares in your company? The average answer I get is they're like, oh, we don't have any malware in our company, or it detects and removes it. I'm like, have you ever been to Google's virus total? Like that's 72 antivirus engines, and they never all detect anything ever. Like if you get a 30% hit rate across all the antivirus engines, I mean, you found a program that's well known. Every bit of malware that I work, almost everything is not detected by anything for weeks to months. Yeah. And even after like a week or two, it's only detected by a couple of things. So, again, dwell time's a big deal. There's a lot more malware hanging out in people's systems than anybody knows about. And why? Because they're not asking the right question, and they're not putting instrumentation into the environment to detect it in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, you have to assume, I think one of the greatest questions is not to keep it out, but assuming that you have, asking the right question would put the right defense in place. So if you make the assumption that I am hacked, that I do have malware, then you would, byproduct of that would mean you'd have the right instrumentation on there.
Yeah, Albert Einstein said, if you gave me an hour to answer a question that my life depended upon, I would spend the first 55 minutes trying to think about the right questions to ask. For if I asked the right questions, I'd be able to give you the answer, no problem. Something like that.
Well, I mean, but nobody wants to ask that question because, especially in front of their boss, because their boss has hired them to be I'm the best defender out there. But if the best defender comes in and goes, well, we need to assume we're breached, then it becomes a system availability. How quickly can we recover? How can we root out and find? How can we get
ready for this? I'm ready. I hate assume breach. Assume breach is for losers.
Okay.
The reason that we do have to assume breach. Assume breach says you're either compromised. You have to assume you're either currently compromised or could easily be compromised. And we do have to do that. That is the right mentality today, because we are not correctly, more strongly stopping stuff. You can't put 5% of your resources against 70% of your problem and think that you're doing a good job and wondering, well, how come we're still being compromised? Oh, we got hacked again. Like I used to be amazed. I would go to customers and I would say, you need to do this. You need to patch Java. You need to change this, configure, whatever it was. And I'd say, every time you pay me, when I was with Microsoft, it was like this $40,000 engagement. And I had to give you an 80-page report with 50 things that were broken. But I went out of my way to go, this is the thing you need to fix first. Never but once in 12 years at Microsoft did the customer ever fix the thing I told them that was number one. And they would be compromised. There would be $100 million fines. CISOs would be fired. CEOs would be fired. And the people that came in to replace them wouldn't fix it. They go, oh, we can't. Like I'd say, you need to patch Java. That was a big one while I was there. You need to patch Java. Java in 2005 was responsible for 91% of all exploits by itself, meaning that if you patch just Java, almost all your risk is gone. But they wouldn't do it. I'd come back in 6 months or a year, and they wouldn't do it. And I go, how come? You're like, what breaks things? I'm like, well, your answer shouldn't be binary. It shouldn't be, well, we can't fix it. It breaks things. There's a lot of things you can do besides just give up. And then like, oh, we got broken into, probably Java.